Just want to tell my wife.
Yeah.
All right.
It still says starting, but up at the top it says live. There we go.
That's such a great face, Mitch. It says live on mine.
Do you hear music?
No.
Nope.
Oh.
But we see a bouncy ball.
Oh, well, crap. Why don't you hear music? I thought you heard music. I hear music.
We're like, you know.
Oh, man, I hear it.
You hear the drone?
I hear
Yeah.
the drone. All right. Do you hear the cash register?
No.
No.
Why don't you hear that?
I don't know.
Crap. All right.
Do you have a mixer? What goes into your system?
Yes. Well, it's software.
What? We're going to have to find out what software it is one day.
Oh, I know what it is. No, I know. So
Did you
now,
get a card for that? You get a card for that? Did he give you a card? To record onto?
you hear that, Paul?
There you go. Yep.
Yes.
All right, take two.
You could format the card, by the way. All right, Mitch, I'm ready whenever you are.
There you go.
Welcome, everyone. This is Planet Mitch, and this is episode number 4 of Tech Talk Time. So, Paul, Michael, what time is it?
It's Tech Talk time. Hey,
Tech
Mitch,
Talk
I'm so
time.
excited.
Why are you excited, Michael, and where the hell are you?
Do you like it? This is real. This is not a backdrop, by the way. This is Adam's place. You've heard us talk about Adam on the show. Adam works with us, and he's a friend. And this is his pad. This is his place. And so my son Jack and my wife Jill, we wanted to bring them here to have some pool time today. And I thought, well, let's do the show from here. Although I think we should do the show from here every time. And it's kind of a party. We've got Dave flying a DJI Phantom Vision 2 Plus. Adam's hanging out, Jack's hanging out, Jill's hanging out. We got dogs here, so it's kind of like Romper Room. We're going to have a lot of excitement. And by the way, if you like the place, it could be yours for the right price.
It's like Romper Room. Well,
King.
yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot that.
It's pretty awesome, though. I'm having fun, and I feel like you guys should be here. So next time, you guys have to be here, and we can all do an amazing show here.
That would be great. Now, if viewers would start sending in cash to planetmitch@planet5d.com.
No, not cash. We want checks, Mitch, because
Okay.
we want to know that it's for the Be Terrific show. Because otherwise, cash, you could just think it's a Planet 5D donation. We want them to let us know that it's for the show, so that
Well,
we can do the show from here.
So, don't you think it doesn't matter to me?
All right, send cash to Mitch at Planet. Where are we sending cash? How do you send cash? Unless you don't want cash in the mail, you want a check.
PayPal.
PayPal it to Planet Mitch.
PlanetMitch@planet5d.com.
There you go.
What else have you got exciting going on? I hear a buzzing, Michael. It
Well,
sounds
that's
kind
the
of...
DJI. It's flying around. I don't know. And you see the dogs, and Jack and Jill just walked through. It's
Jack-
fun. We've got a lot of exciting stuff going on. We had a fun week.
I finally get it, Jack and Jill.
You like it, right?
Fine.
I am so slow.
We love the name Jack. Jill was very on the fence about naming him Jack because she was worried that they would make fun of him because his mom's named Jill. And I said, forget it. Let's name him Jack.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And I think like people in Paul's generation probably don't even know what Jack and Jill are anyway.
There's the DJI
Oh, you
behind.
see it in the background, yeah.
You see it flying right over the pool? If
Yeah.
it crashes, I will cry. If it crashes over
You
the
can
pool,
see
I
it
will
live.
cry.
Crash.
This
I want
is-
to see it zip across the screen accidentally.
Hold on. Let me just say, this is Adorama's DJI. We're doing a tech review on it. So if it does crash, go buy yours at Adorama. At least we can get a plug-in. We can make it worth the $1,500. This one's pretty awesome. It's super awesome. The camera's not as good as I would like. It's about a GoPro 1 level camera, so it's not to be used for serious filmmaking, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a much better device than the first one. The fact that you can use an app to control it and to give you a lot of feedback and to see a live video stream constantly is phenomenal and needed, and you can, you know, get your altitude and your ground speed and how far you are away. It's really, and your battery life, it's really a really awesome version, and I think it's only going to get better in the future. But this one's cool, and you can watch that full review. I'll have one review on GeekBeat and the full review on Adorama.
GeekBeat.
GeekBeat.tv. Yeah.
What are you doing on GeekBeat, Michael? I thought this was.
What am I doing on GeekBeat? I don't even know. I'm just saying this is where you can find my stuff. What do people not? Do we not steer people to Planet 5D?
Oh.
What are you doing on Planet 5D, Mitch?
Well, yeah.
I read you guys did a lot this week. You put up that Ursa thing. By the way, you can put up the Adorama video when it's up on Planet 5D. People might want to be interested about that.
I'm sure they will.
The Ursa thing, I didn't like that video. You want to know why?
Yes, please tell me why you didn't like the Blackmagic Ursa video that we hosted on planet5d.com this past week.
Because it didn't give me enough information about how the camera's going to be. All I saw is sunset. Any camera can make sunset look good. It doesn't show me the dynamic range or the detail of the camera. There were no close-ups, there were no faces, there were no interview shots, there were no acting shots. There was nothing you would really have to color correct. Any camera can shoot a sunset well, even this silly thing. You know, could Blackmagic please put out a video that actually shows what the camera's capable of, or are they trying to tell us, hold the phone, maybe the camera isn't capable? And you know, I was talking to somebody yesterday about the studio camera, and I was promised a month and a half ago a firmware update so that you could actually use the studio camera. Oh, here's my little son Jack, and it's still not there. Hey, Giacomo, come here, buddy. We call him Giacomo. He's superhero Giacomo. And he brought me a book to read him. This is Noodle Loves the Park. And Jack, wave. Look at Mitch. Wave at Mitch. Wave at Paul.
Hi,
Wave, Jack.
He doesn't look happy.
He is. He's having a blast. Look at that. He's waving on his own. High five. Can we get a high five? Yes. Fist pump. Fist pump. He's trying to high five you, Mitch. He loves it. All right, I'm giving him back to his mom. I'll read him a book later. Mitch, you know, that's what I feel. So what's the deal with that video? What is your feeling with it? And what's the deal with Blackmagic?
The simple answer is that was the very first video that was shot by a guy by the name of John Brawley. It was not shot by Blackmagic. Right,
but they gave him the camera. There's one available. Like, why wouldn't you say, like, shoot good stuff with this, or shoot like this, and this?
Because as all good manufacturers do, they just give the camera and let the people shoot what they want to shoot. We actually will have an interview coming up, I think, this week, hopefully, knock on wood, with John Brawley. We have a new writer, Karen, who lives down in Australia, and that's
I
where
want to interview him.
is. So,
can I get him on? Can we get him on Google Hangout and have him next week? Because I want to interview him. I want to know why he chose to shoot nothing with that camera. I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing. How am I supposed to determine how that camera's capabilities with that?
that was just the first one, Michael. That's all. We'll get more.
But it's the he is literally the first person to shoot with that camera. He has a responsibility to get it out there for us. These guys are just taunting me with this thing. All right, listen. Let's move on. You know, I wanted to talk about Monoprice. Because yeah, they're apparently, according to like Engadget or Gizmodo, you can hit the register again. I just plugged those two companies twice, please. Monoprice is taking over the electronics world and ruining it for companies like Best Buy. And let me explain. So Best Buy or Adorama or any of these places will sell you a TV and take almost nothing on the margins. And then they'll sell you a $200 monster cable, your brackets and all this other stuff, make a ton of margin on that, and that makes up for the margin they don't make on the TV. And hopefully they get you in the store and get you as a loyal customer and all this stuff. And maybe they sell you a credit card at the same time, which they can charge you a lot of interest on and make even more money. That's how it works. That's the scam, right? Or the game or the gag or whatever you want to call it. It's not a scam. They're not hiding behind that. Monster has said, oh, you have to buy these gold-plated cables. They look beautiful. They're nicely done, and everybody buys them with their TVs. And when you first got the flat screens, that's really all that was out. Now, Monoprice comes out a couple years ago, and they basically go, here's a $2 cable. It's the same. We can test it. You don't lose any signal. It's not analog. There's really no way. As long as the zeros and ones get through, there's no way to have a degraded signal or whatever. And so they're basically selling $2 cables against $200 cables, and they're hurting Best Buy, Adorama, all these places, and obviously Monster, because they're able to undercut all these.
And now we've lost Michael.
Wow.
Way to go, Michael. That's when the DJI flies through the air and cuts off his head. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I think Michael
It never
will.
is, because what it does.
There he is.
You know how it hurts us is that it kills the service, because we can't get service, we can't get good help and stuff in stores and good knowledge. But Jack's bringing me some more books. And the reason why is because the stores don't make enough, so they have to cut somewhere. And so, I mean, I like the idea that they're helping us and they're making us cables, but a lot of times monoprice cables aren't even that good and fall apart or don't stand the test of time. I've found they do make some good products, but a lot of times they have some subpar products as well. So I'm not thrilled with monoprice taking over the electronics world.
Well, I don't think very many people would necessarily say that that's a great thing. And by the way, we lost you for about 30 seconds there. So whatever real super intelligent stuff was in that 30 seconds, and it's lost forever.
I had no idea that you lost me for 30 seconds. That was one of the best rants I've ever had. That is a shame. You guys missed out, and I'm sorry about that. What I will say is I could do it all over again if you want.
No. That's okay. We'll
Did
certainly.
you get the audio, or you lost me?
We lost you completely.
We lost you completely, but that's okay. But I think the great news about that is that there is competition, and the thing that I really like about Monoprice and that whole deal about how they are teaching people that you don't have to spend the huge bucks on the gold-plated stuff, because nobody's going to know the difference anyway. I mean, I've always had that problem, and I've always not detested Monster Cable, but I've always just thought it was sort of a gimmick. And I have some audiophile friends that say, "Oh yeah, I can really tell the difference," and you know, I really like analog versus digital. So
I was talking to somebody last night who was telling me, and he's an audiophile, and he was telling me that somebody bought these ridiculously expensive, and they needed 100-foot runs to get to the amplifier in the back, and to get to the amplifier, they don't have these, you know, these were $10,000 speaker cables that the person was supposed to buy, and they don't have runs of $10,000 speaker cables at 100 feet. So what the guy did is he went to Home Depot, he bought 100-foot orange extension cords, opened them up, took the copper out, and ran them as speaker cable. And said the guy who set these up said he couldn't tell the difference between their $10,000 cables and these, you know, these speaker cables that this guy made. So, you know, I agree. You don't need, it is a gimmick. You don't need these cables. I certainly think that the $10,000 cables look cool, and so do the Monster cables. But who cares, because it's behind the stuff. And there's no reason to spend it. There's no reason to spend it. But what I will tell you is that, you know, at some point it is hurting. It's going to hurt us somehow as consumers, and that's what I was trying to say. Is we're going to get less service at Best Buy or Adorama because they got to cut somewhere because their margins are getting cut. I like it on one hand, I hate it on the other. If they're going to do it, just make the cables good. That's all. Because sometimes their cables are terrible, and sometimes they're good.
I agree. Hey, Michael.
Yes.
Paul, do you guys ride bicycles?
Yes.
No, I'm waiting for somebody to invent a bicycle seat that's like a tractor seat, so it's actually comfortable to ride a bicycle. But I'd like to. You know, my wife and I went to the store a couple weeks ago, REI, Ching,
And you're breaking up yet again, Michael.
We're losing Mike again.
So the story that we want to talk about here, and I'll switch over to Paul or me until Michael comes back, and he's just talking. You know, he's just...
there's a rant. There's another rant we're missing here.
We're missing totally. But the story is, and I can never pronounce the name right, Hodving.
Hovik? Is it?
No, it's Ing.
Hovig?
Ing on the end. But they're from Sweden or Norway or one of those.
Hodving? Yeah.
Wonderful countries over there, and they have developed an airbag bicycle helmet that wraps around your neck. And we should, of course, if we had a great producer like me that would have a video here, you could actually see the thing work. But you wear it around your neck, and it inflates like an airbag in a car if you fall over and have an accident, and it covers your head. I'm fascinated. I spent a lot of time looking at their videos and watching the stuff they have on their website, and it's really cool, and it really scares me now because they've corrupted my mentality over the old-fashioned bicycle helmets because they say they flat out don't always work. So
Yeah, I saw the website. They have like the comparison tests to show the different ones that protect you, like the impact tests, and some of them were really surprisingly like not very good.
and so it makes you want to not wear one of their regular helmets. And the thing that really scares me about the Hodving, I need to learn to be Norwegian. Hodving is the fact that it costs what?
What was it, like $200, $300?
$400 US, 299
300 pounds. Euros.
That's a lot of money for a bicycle helmet, I think.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's one-time use, so
Yes, absolutely.
that is.
I will tell you, based on my recent experience with hospital charges. Hey, there's Michael.
Yeah, I'm doing this off my phone again. I'm gonna try it off my phone. How's that sound?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, based on my recent experience with medical expenses and hospital stays, you know how much, by the way, my hospital stay 2 weeks ago for the kidney stones was?
I can't even imagine.
Ha! $23,000.
Let me guess.
Oh, too late. We've lost him again.
Oh,
$23,000.
wow, that's ridiculous.
And I get to go have another procedure next Tuesday. So I don't know what that one's going to cost me either.
Well,
I'll
actually,
be spending the night in the hospital, so it would be cheaper.
yeah, well, this is interesting because I still do. I still ride bikes a lot. But 5 years ago, I was biking on my friend's house, and if you could see it, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I have this scar on the side of my face here.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. 5 years ago, I was hit by a car biking
Wow.
to my friend's house, and like, this is from my head going to the windshield of a car on my
Wow.
bike. Yeah. And if I didn't, the whole thing was like I broke my collarbone. I was unconscious in the middle of the street, and if I didn't have a helmet, the doctor said I would have died. So that is something interesting there.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
Oh, look, we have a beautiful picture of the sky over Michael's head. And clouds. And here we are. Oh, is that his hat? Some fingers flying by. He's probably trying to put us on the DJI. There's Michael.
Yeah. Right.
We'll do the show with 3 DJI cameras. How do you think that would work out? And we are masters of Tech Talk time because Michael can't manage his tech. We can't hear you, Michael. If you see us, we don't hear you.
Without Michael, this is only going to be like a half-hour show.
You're down, Michael. You're not working. If you can hear us.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Oh, 1 minute, he said. What do you...
Oh, I'm getting something.
This...
Now you guys can hear me. Give me a second here. I'm going to give you a tour of Adam's little place while I do this. I'm going to switch to Bluetooth because I tried to plug a headphone in. Oh, can you hear me? Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
I can hear you. We can't see.
No?
We can hear you.
There you
No. Hear
We
me?
can hear you. Hear you.
And this is Tech Talk.
Okay, you guys couldn't hear me, right?
No, we could.
Huh?
We can.
You couldn't hear me, correct?
Wait, can. We can.
Can. Stuttery. This is working really well.
Oh, man, we lost it again.
Well, so what should we talk about next, Paul? I am totally shocked, by the way. I was recently doing some research on different. Michael's keeps appearing, but I'm gonna assume until I hear him that he's not really there. What I did not know is that current Android is selling like 80%, 88% of all the phones on the market.
I saw that.
And Apple is selling like 12%. And who's making the most money?
It's Apple.
Apple's making a ton of money.
That is very crazy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, finally. You know what? I'm using these LG things I'm telling everybody about. You know, the Tone Plus. And now you can hear me. It's Bluetooth. I might be a little delayed, but you can hear me at least. And Apple's making all the money because Apple makes a superior product and has the most, not only advanced, but it's got the most curated store, the Apple iTunes store. Everything work well, and everything works well together, and there's no fragmentation. If I want to buy an app, I can put it on my phone and my iPad. I don't have to go, oh, what version of AOS am I running? Is it KitKat? Is it this? Is it that? Even when you're running the right one on Android, sometimes you can't download the app. It's unbelievable. It's frustrating. And that's why the people who use the most from their phone, most money. And obviously, they also spend the most money because they're spending the most money for their phone, which means they might have a little bit more money.
Tell us how you really feel, Mikey.
You know what? I'm feeling good. I figured out. You said I can't manage my tech, but somehow I figured out how to get this working no matter what. And so I think I managed my tech pretty well. I had a backup that didn't work, which was this Audio-Technica ART 3350. I'll have to figure out why that didn't work for us. I thought maybe it was the on-off switch for a minute. And then I went to these Bluetooth headsets, which I love, and that's after having my computer fail several times. Now, you know, I'm just having fun with you guys. I am a little aggravated with the fact that the computer failed here with really good internet, 14 up and about 12 down, and it can't work.
Was it Apple?
It is. It's a MacBook Air. You know, so, but I don't know what the router configuration here is at Adam's house.
Just so you know that you are here, but you are like 1 image per second, so it's not very good video, and some of the audio is breaking up quite a bit, so it's not the best signal in the world, but we'll work with it.
All right, I could try and work on that while you guys talk some more, but I will tell you this. Of course, the video is going to be a little bit delayed no matter what because I'm using Bluetooth, which doesn't really work with video well. But I can try and put this on Wi-Fi and see if we can get a better result on my phone than we got on my computer.
Well, as long as we're getting decent audio, I think we're okay, Michael, because people just want to hear your pontifications. What I want to know
I'm down with that.
Is, what do you think? Is your next phone going to have a flexible TV or a flexible screen? Would you want that? Do you want a flexible TV at all?
Well, wait a second, Mitch. We didn't hear what you had to say about Apple and Android and why you're an Apple fanboy as well and carry an iPhone.
Well, I actually was talking about that while you were gone, but that's okay.
Oh, so I missed that. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We'll jump ahead, and we'll talk about the flexible screens that people are going to have on their TVs thanks to LG. I think it's ridiculous. I don't, other than architectural and design-wise, I don't like this curved TV, and I'm not sure how I'm going to hang it on my wall. A flexible TV is just much more ridiculous. I mean, I guess it's cool, flexible display, I guess. But I kind of like, I'm old school. I like the rigid display. I don't want my phone to get smaller than it is. I love the watch phone idea, and I have a watch phone on my desk. Which should probably go in somebody's museum. But, you know, I what I would say is that I like, I love technology. I just am old school in the fact that I don't want my phone to get smaller and I don't want it to be flexible. I guess some people, you could find some applications for it. You could certainly wear it. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know that I need it to be flexible, except for when my son Jack throws it. And I don't think we need to pay 10 times more for that flexibility.
Well, I'm not totally sure that I have a whole lot of different uses for something like that. I haven't been able to come up with a big reason to have a flexible screen.
Right now,
I mean, I guess that's the thing. Paul, you're young. What's the deal? What would you want a flexible screen for? Because, I guess that's what kids today would want. Stick it under your skateboard or Greg's skateboard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you want a flexible display?
I honestly couldn't tell you why.
You tired? You have a bender last night? I mean, I've only been on for like 5 minutes of the entire show, and all you're doing is rubbing your eyes, and looks like you're about to pass out over there. What's going on? Do you have a hangover?
The office is hot today. I don't know what the deal is.
Wow.
Maybe they turn the AC off or something. You can open the door in the edit room so that it doesn't get so hot with the servers. But Paul, I would say this: if you do have a hangover for some reason, there's a good cure that I learned from athletes, and that is drink Pedialyte. And if you can't get your hands on Pedialyte, Gatorade before you go to bed. So you have to do that before you go to bed, and you'll feel better.
I've always heard of bottled water too.
No, Pedialyte or Gatorade.
Pedialyte.
You need the electrolytes, the sugar, everything.
All right.
And you got to force yourself. You're not going to want to drink it, trust me. You got to force yourself to do it late at night as you're passing out. Have it right on the bed, and you're like, athletes will, in their riders, they will have it delivered to their hotel rooms.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there anything for the next day?
No, if you don't do it that night, you're screwed.
Oh,
you have to do it that night, and you can wake up. You can wake up with one too. It'll help you out, but you have to do it that night. You need the sodium, you need the electrolytes, and you need the sugar. D. Reed would tell you the next day all you can do is drink a ton of water, and that's probably the truth, which is what everybody else tells you. But his thing, I think, is like a gallon of water. I don't know. That sounds like too much overhydration to me.
A gallon of water. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I will tell you, Pedialyte, don't go nuts. A Pedialyte or a Gatorade before you go to bed.
All right.
And drinking plenty of water will keep the kidney stones away.
That's right. We did learn that. But I don't know if you saw this, Mitch. Overhydration. There was a football player who got overhydrated. So he was dehydrated, and they made him drink like 2 or 3 gallons of water, and he got overhydrated. Unfortunately, he passed away. And so now they're blaming it on overhydration. So I don't know how true that is. I haven't talked to doctors about this yet because I am curious. It's possible, and if that's the case, be careful about drinking too much water. I think they say 8 glasses of water, 8-ounce glasses of water a day is good. I mean, certainly like close to a gallon would be no more than you should drink, I think. And to be safe, and that should help your kidney stone situation. How is your kidney stone situation?
Well, I have not had any pain since 2 weeks ago, and I am going in this coming Tuesday to experience what they call a lithotripsy. That's not right. Lithotripsy, where they're going to ultrasound and blast my 9mm kidney stone into bits, and then I get to pass that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is what I was trying to say, that they need to blast that so that you don't have to have the surgery and you don't have to have that thing rammed up your rod. But
as a bonus, I get to have that for 2 weeks. So, yeah. And then 2 weeks after next Tuesday, I get to have that yanked out.
So wait, they're putting a catheter in you for 2 weeks?
No, it's actually called a stent, S-T-E-N-T, and it goes between the kidney and the bladder. So it does not come out the private parts. It's between the kidney and the bladder to help the stones pass through. What I've been told, which is a little-known fact apparently, is that from the bladder to the exterior, generally that does not hurt. From what I've been told, it's the passing from the kidney to the bladder is where the pain is.
I don't want to challenge that idea, no matter what. I don't want to find out. So you guys can hear this thing probably sounds pretty good. The wind just kicked up a little bit, but I really do like this LG Tone Plus. I wanted to give people a little update on it. I'm liking it. This is week 2, and you're getting a chance to hear how good or bad it sounds. And I would like to apologize to everybody. I thought it would be fun to do it from here with the background and everything, with all the stuff going on around me, the DJI flying and everything. Apparently, with the lack of internet connection, it's terrible. So I do apologize for that. We got to get internet connections going a lot better, just like we got to get cell phone batteries charging better. And some people say you can charge them in thin air now.
I saw that article, and I think that's very intriguing, but I don't know how logistically easy that's going to be, because the article that we saw had showed that they were doing it for about 2 feet charging station, and then wirelessly to the remote station.
Right, and we talked about this a little while ago, like maybe in our first broadcast, but then this was literally a newer one that was about ultrasound, right, which is pretty ridiculous. But again, it's the time to charge it. You'd need wireless transmitters in every single room. Again, I don't know how much of this wireless we want flying around us. I've already got Bluetooth around my neck now. How much more cancer do we want being shot at us till are we like, hey, we're going to fend you off. Let's just keep fending it off. Come on. See what you can give me. I mean, we're doing it to ourselves, and I can't imagine living without wireless. But on the other hand, I know what we're in for.
It makes you wonder whether or not we're really pulverizing our stones or
microwaving our bodies.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
It actually does make me wonder if maybe there is part of me that says maybe it's not we're not getting cancer from all this radiation in the air. On the other hand, that's not true. I know better.
Nice knee, by the way, Michael. It's really sexy.
Thank you very much. Yes, I rarely wear shorts. It was going to be 100 degrees out today, and so I wore them, and it's not 100 degrees out. But I really am looking forward to getting into the pool with Jack after this. But Jill has warned me he might not want to get into the pool because he's a kid and he's 14 months old and he might be terrified by it. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. I'll have to tell you guys next week. He is. I think he's going to be. I said to somebody before, he's my son, so he's going to go. He's going to go for it because I don't know how to do anything halfway, but and except this week, I didn't take the DJI over the Hudson during the day, only at night because I didn't want to get arrested. And there was a guy kind of me said I didn't push too far, but here's a company that hasn't pushed far enough, and that is Samsung, and that's because their sales are dropping. They haven't made anything amazing or new in the last few years, and they're okay, but they're not unbelievable. HTC is catching up. LG is catching up. Moto's a distant 18th. And I just don't understand what's going on because I think Samsung should make something that's unbelievable and that I want to own, and yet they don't. And that's part of the reason why I think Android isn't that great, because they haven't done anything to make it better and to make people want to use their phones for apps and all this other stuff as much as iPhones and stuff. And I think iPhones get used professionally a lot more too.
Well, you're absolutely right, Michael, and I think we've talked about it before, and I'm going to talk about it again because it just absolutely drives me crazy. I do have, where is it? Here it is, the Amazon Fire tablet, and I don't use it because it's got problems, and I can't get to the Google Play Store, and it's version umpteen of 6 million Android devices. But as we were talking before, I think with the fact that there are so many different Android devices, they're just cheap, and people are using them as phones. And they can't get to the web, and they don't use them to surf to Planet 5D for sure. There are very few Android devices coming to my website at all. Do
you want to know something
Go ahead.
Amazing? BeTerrific's traffic is 85% iPhone, 15% other. Of that 15% other, 10% is, a computer. So 5% is either Android, Windows Mobile, whatever else. 10% is computer. Everything is moving mobile, and it's all moving iOS. And it's really, truly amazing. Again, and then you don't have the best developers wanting to develop for Android because they're not able to sell for Android because people aren't buying the apps. And, if you were going to develop, what would you develop for? Something you can make money for, or would you develop for something that maybe a few people will buy? And I think your Fire is a perfect example. You're 100% right, but I've never been able to figure this out. I love Apple. I think they've done a tremendous job, but why hasn't somebody been able to do what Apple has done? Like, why can't they copy it? Apple was worlds ahead of everybody. Why can Google, with all their money, not copy this and get everybody on board? Instead, they get Samsung says, oh, we're going to make our own Play Store, and Amazon says, we're going to make our own Play Store. And some of them, including Samsung, but not including Kindle, allow you to play in the Android store still as well, but it's just too fragmented, and it's so crazy, and it's like, you guys can't put up, all of you together can't put up good competition to Apple. It's ridiculous. And Android Wear, I wanted to love the Galaxy Gear, and it's just okay. It should be so innovative, and it's just okay. And I mean, that could have motivated me to get an Android and a Galaxy Gear. Wouldn't give up my iPhone, but I might have done both just for that cool watch. And
it all goes back to, Michael, to me, it goes back to the fact that Apple controls the hardware and the software, and it all works together. And the problem with Android is there are so many different variants, just like what happened with Windows. Windows is falling apart because you had to make it work on 50,000 different machines with 50,000 different accessories, and none of them played well. And so if you had Google making Android and made the hardware and it all worked seamlessly together, it would work better.
I couldn't agree more. And I think when they started, they literally had everybody convinced with that was like a Sidekick knockoff, that they were making the hardware when they weren't, by the way. It was I believe it was a Sharp device, but it might have been LG. And and I do think that the best Android phones are closely monitored by Google. The specs are put together by Google, and they're really the phones are as close to an Android phone as you can get. But I agree with you 100%, and I think it's a shame that, I do love Apple, but I think it's a shame that nobody really has stepped up to the plate and been able to do it. But I think it is true. It's that they control the hardware and the software, and clearly Steve Jobs was right about that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why, I just don't understand. I can't wrap my brain around it.
And I honestly think, and people blasted Steve Jobs for decades and said, well, look, Apple's this closed little system and nobody can do anything with it. And, Windows is so open and look how big they became. And everybody right now thinks of Microsoft as dead and Apple as totally alive because Apple's been able to make these devices that all work together. They're not perfect. We all know that they all have problems. I often can't get X to work with Y. But at the same time, I've got my mail on all three of my different devices. I've got it on a phone, on a tablet, and on my different laptops and desktops. I've got all of my bookmarks synced. I've got all my address books synced. Everything just seems to work together. And so why would I touch Android? Because it's just too broken.
And they promise that all that can work together, but it doesn't. I got a question for you about that Kindle you have. How much did that Kindle cost you? And if you had to do it again, would you have bought an iPad mini? Because realistically, I don't think the cost difference is that much. I know you wanted to get into the Android space because you're a tech guy and you felt it was important. But if you had to do it all over again, would you buy a Galaxy Tab, or would you be buying some other Android device, or would you buy an iPad mini, and what was the price difference?
If I'm buying it for me, for my personal use, it would be an iPad mini, of course, because everything else I have is Apple. I bought
but
it.
this.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, in this case, you bought it to get into Android. Would you just say, you know what, screw Android, or would you buy it again?
If I need to know more about Android. I have to for my business. And if I'd known better, I would have not gotten this Amazon device. I probably would have gotten a Galaxy because I want it to be more truly Android than the Amazon version of Android. This was $139, which is the other reason I went ahead and jumped at it. Because
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that cheap.
right. It was $159, but if you got it preloaded with the Amazon stuff and the freebies that Amazon throws at you, they whack $20 off the price, which is
Wow.
cool. And the third reason that I got it was because I wanted to actually see how well it worked, because I'm thinking about doing a giveaway on Planet 5D.
Give that one away.
And I wanted to be able to give away multiple devices, and I figured if it's $139, maybe I could give away 4 or 5 of them as opposed to maybe only 1 or 2 Apple devices. It's still something that I wouldn't mind giving away. I mean, it works. Okay, don't get me wrong.
It's a good giveaway. It is. People would clamor for that. Yes.
So those are my reasons for going after this particular device, and I'm about ready to sell it because I think I've learned everything I need to learn. I don't need it for my personal use.
You should do a Galaxy Tab 10, a 310, or you should do one of the phones like an S5. Throw a Straight Talk card in it for a little while for $50, and that's how you should experience Android. I kind of feel like I should do the same. Maybe we'll do it together, Mitch. Or I'll get the Nexus and you'll get the other one, or do the Nexus. The Nexus is phenomenal as far as Androids go. It's about as good as you can get. But just the other day, I'm going to Amsterdam for IBC, and I was thinking, do I get a Nexus unlocked and throw some SIM card in over there? And then it's like it's running KitKat 4.4. Well, what operating system is that in the Android world? Is that the right one? Is that the newest one? I have no idea. And can it be upgraded to the newest one? I don't even know that. So I kind of paused for a minute. I know that current Nexus is about a year old, which means that they should be getting ready for a new one. And, I don't know. It's interesting. Did you guys talk about, I know you talked about the bike seats while I was gone, which is perfect because I don't ride bikes, which is probably why Paul's tired because he's thinking about some long bike trip he had.
Yeah.
Or, it's some bike trip to the liquor store. Or, I mean, you probably talked about that. Is that correct?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And have you also talked about the thing I want to talk about was the basketball, the touch sensitive from Nike, because I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a really cool video. If you check it out, get a chance to check that out.
It's not very long. It's only like 30 seconds.
But did you guys talk about this already?
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay, awesome. So Nike's got this basketball that's touch sensitive, but it gives you all this feedback, tactile feedback, and it all reports to an app as well. Is that correct?
Not basketball, a basketball court.
It's a court.
Oh, a basketball court.
Yeah, it's a
I misread the notes because there is a basketball that I've seen that's amazing, but I guess it's not. Hold on, I'm going to find this real quick on this internet that doesn't work here. It's in the Apple Store, and there is a basketball out there, literally, that is unbelievable. So I'll tell you about that first, then we'll talk about this basketball court.
Basketball?
No, it's not touch screen. It is a basketball. It's called the 9450. And it's available in the Apple Store, and literally, you touch it, and pass it, and shoot it, and all this stuff, and dribble it, and it gives all this feedback to your iOS device. By the way, the best accessories are made for iOS devices, as we know, right? How's your Fitbit? It really works best with an iOS device. Anyway, the 9450 is a basketball that's truly amazing, and I think it's the first in a line of sports stuff that will be unbelievable. Hockey sticks, baseballs, everything that will give you feedback on how you perform right to your phone based on how you touch and maneuver the device. And I think this is super exciting because I would have loved this as a kid and think it would have made me a better athlete. Not in basketball because, look, I'm 5'6". Nothing would have made me a better basketball player. But
Jordan's.
And I can't jump. I could have been Michael Jordan, and I still wouldn't have been a pro basketball player. Like, I could have had his skill and still wouldn't have been good enough. I can't say that, Spud Webb. But that was my Mr. Subliminal from Kevin Nealon. But anyway, a basketball court. Tell me about it, Paul, because that sounds amazing, especially if it works with this basketball.
Yeah, well, so the thing is, it's a whole court that's like an LCD touchscreen like thing, and basically it's Nike built this, and they built it.
Of course
for
they did.
This, right, they built it for what they call Nike Rise, and it's like this competition they like started to find like young Chinese basketball players.
So it's over in China.
Yeah, it's in Shanghai.
Yeah. Well.
So they're really looking. They're looking for the next Yao Ming. It's super cool.
Yeah, and basically the court can like change to like whatever exercises they want to do, and it's like all touch sensitive and motion sensitive. It's pretty neat. Looks.
It's pretty awesome.
It's
That's really, really great.
It's curious to me though whether or not it's. I mean, the video that they sampled that Paul found shows that they turned all the lights out in the auditorium, so you see nothing but really the floor. So I think it's got to be working sort of more in combination with regular lighting, and be able to have bright enough lights that you can see while the regular lighting is on. Because you obviously can't play basketball in the dark.
Right, and the other thing that would be interesting is if filming this, right? Like, people don't realize hockey is about the hardest sport to shoot because the ice is so white and the lights reflect off of it. And so, you know, filming something that is basically backlighting all the players is going to make it even tougher to shoot that. By the way, just to mention, you're all invited to Adam's ice rink because he is going. We just decided today we're freezing the tennis court in the winter, and we're gonna have the Be Terrific Hockey Challenge out here. It's happening. It's on. I was told that I have to donate $40 to the cause. I think I have it in my pocket. If I don't, I'm going to go to the ATM because that is on. I've dreamed about playing hockey in somebody's backyard since I was a kid.
What's the $40? What's the cost involved?
Well, you got to get a pool liner. Apparently, Dave was telling us he builds sets for. Dave flies the DJIs with us. He does a lot for us. He builds the sets for Orange is the New Black. He was here before he left. He was flying the DJIs. Anyway, you got to get a pool liner so that you don't freeze the court and you don't do damage to the court, and so that you can, I guess, pick up all the water at the end when it melts. And then you got to build boards, and so like if we all donate a little bit of money, we're going to build the boards and get the pool liner and freeze the thing. Refrigeration machine so that Adam doesn't have to go out there with a hose every day. Once we get it frozen, to make sure we make a new sheet of ice, because that's how I want it. I have this dream of one day. I've never lived in a house in my life. I have a dream of having a house and freezing the backyard for Jack.
There you go.
And that will live in like Michigan to do that.
No. We're going to do this in our area here. You know, today with the technology, you could literally. This will be a whole tech time talk, or maybe 10 of them at this point. When I get to that level, I am telling you, with the technology, and I read the hockey magazines, USA Hockey at the back, it tells you how to do all this stuff. You can literally get a refrigeration machine, and we could build this in Los Angeles in a backyard.
Wow. Well, yeah. I remember when I was a kid, we got really excited because I lived in Florida, and when
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking that what could possibly have happened in Florida? It snowed once. You were there when it snowed once in 20 years?
Actually, that's right. When it froze, we would turn the sprinkler on, and so we would get water up in the trees, and it would be icy, and that would be cool, and we could walk on the crickly grass because the grass was frozen.
But now they play hockey in Florida. It's amazing.
Yeah. And the one time, and you're right, it did freeze. I mean, snow one time when I was in college, and we actually drove from Tampa, where I was going to school, and we drove to my house in Gainesville at 10 o'clock. We got there at midnight, and it hadn't snowed in Gainesville, so we turned around and drove back to school, and it snowed on the way, and people were sledding down the hills on the lunch carts, you know, the trays.
Sure,
you know.
The trays, yeah, the lunch trays. Hey, where'd you go to school?
But get this, before I forget that, they shut the highways down because nobody could drive on the highways. I was in Atlanta for the Super Bowl in 2000. It was 2000, the Super Bowl in 2000, and they had an ice storm, and they had to shut the highways down. Nobody could drive, and it wasn't even that bad. And I was like, really? I could not believe this. It basically shut the city down because they had no idea. It was an unexpected ice storm. They had no idea how to move around or maneuver. And I thought that's what was going to happen here in New York for the Super Bowl. It didn't. Wait, so where'd you go to school in Florida, first of all, and then where'd you live? I went to the University of South Florida,
Okay. I thought you were going to say the U.
in Tampa, and I went to lived in Gainesville, Florida, but I didn't go to the University of Florida because that was too close to home, and I would have had to live with my parents. So I went to school.
Oh, that would have been awful, living with your parents. I was born in Florida.
Were you really?
Yes, I was. 6 months I spent there, and I rarely go back. Pompano Beach, Broward County.
Yeah, I know. I have a university story for you. This is not Tech Talk, but it's interesting, I think. When I moved from Florida to St. Louis, my mom and dad sent me a newspaper article, and I wish I had it. I lost it. But there's a university in Orlando, and they decided to make a university over in Cape Canaveral, which at the time was called Cape Kennedy. And they named it, and I saw this in the paper. I literally saw it in the paper, so I know it was true. They named it Florida University at Cape Kennedy, which is F-U-C.
Oh, nice.
They published it in the paper.
That is so amazing.
And then they all said, "Oh, wait a minute, we can't."
I love that.
Wow.
And they changed it to Central Florida University. So if you ever heard of Florida University, it used to be called FU.
F-U-C-K.
Yeah.
Wow.
By the way,
Yes, Michael.
I will tell you this. Next week we're going to be playing in a Convergent design to do 4K into the Odyssey at high speed. So I think that'll be fun. We'll be talking about that next week. And a whole lot wisdom. Light.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes. I can
we
hear
heard
you.
none of that. You broke up through the whole thing. So next week we're going to talk about the what?
Well, next week you're going to have to wait to find out.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. The Odyssey Q7 from Convergent Design teamed up with an FS700 that hopefully we'll be able to shoot 4K at high speed with, which should be interesting. We should have some other high-tech stuff next week to talk about too. And this week I feel like was a light tech week for us. I love this thing so far. Hopefully you guys are being able to tell what it is. And I just want to remind you, what is amazing is this is an iPhone that we're doing this broadcast over LTE. So, I mean, that should bode well for the iPhone, even with a Google Plus or a Google Hangout thing. And the DJI Phantom Vision 2 Plus, pretty amazing. Check it out at Adorama.com.
Thank you.
Oops. That didn't work very well, did it?
Oh, I thought you were thanking me for that whole dissertation.
Thank you.
Oh, my.
I do want to apologize. I want to apologize to our fans for not having a better contingency for them, because this is shoddy at best for me to have bad audio and bad video. I do want to thank them for hanging in there and watching, and I'm sorry that they missed my best rants because everything cut out. But thank you for watching.
Next week.
Next week for more.
Yes, let's all tune in next week to Tech Talk Time. We're so thankful to have you. By the time you see these, by the way, we will have everything set up so that you can subscribe to us on iTunes. There will be techtalktime.com where you can check out all of the posts and find all of the links down at the bottom. So the stories that we're covering will be giving you links that you can go find more information. And we really appreciate you tuning in. So if you happen to see us on iTunes, give us a rating and a subscription. And if you have to tell us that it's really bad, send me an email so that we can chat about it before you say something really horrible about us. But so far, we've gotten several very nice comments on the YouTube channel because these are going up as we record them. And we want to thank those folks that are saying very nice things about our brand new podcast called Tech Talk Time. And we need to have a good ending. We don't have a good ending yet.
It's easy. I'm Michael Arches. Be terrific.
See you next week.
And this is Planet Mitch thanking everybody. We will catch you next week on Tech Talk Time.